My name is Victoria Silas. I'm SS1A Science, and I'm from Enugu State, but I live in Gombe where the incident happened. Last year, 5th of January, we are in the church evening service, so with other members of the church and with my family members. When we are in the church, around 7, we are praying. So some unknown gunmen from the window started shooting. So 4 of my family members were affected. I was affected, my younger brother, my elder brother, and my dad. So my dad was shot in his spinal cord and his lap, and I was shot here. My younger brother was shot on his chest, and my elder brother was shot in his both legs. So we are in the church. So we ran out of the church shouting, but no help came. So we went to the nearby police station. We informed them, but they said we have to write a statement before they attend to us. So within a short time, a passerby who was with his car and saw us, so now took us, now rushed us to the hospital before the soldier came with their car and took us to the hospital. But by then, 7 people were dead, including my younger brother. So reaching to the hospital, specialist hospital Gombe, they said that there was no doctor to attend to us. But my elder sister tried her possible best to tell them they have to remove the bullet in my father's spinal cord. So after they did the operation that night, but the rest of us, then they said that the doctors were not here. They transferred us to another hospital, that is Federal Medical Center. When we were there, they attended to us. So my father, 7th of January, was transferred to the hospital. So on that day, he gave up because without my information, I don't know that my dad was dead. So it was after a while, after some days, I was now informed that my dad was dead, my younger brother, because he normally told me that he's receiving blood, that he's getting more better. So after some time, he now told me. So by February, I was okay and they discharged me from the hospital. But my elder brother, who was shot in his both legs, was operated. He have to put iron on his legs to enable him to walk. Sometimes he started walking with crutches, and by now he's walking freely. And this is my story.
On one Friday, we were in school when our headmaster came and told us that each and every one of us, we the pupils, that we should go home. Then each of us dispatched because he told us that there was riot in the town. So we ran home and we told our mom that this is what the headmaster had said. Then our mom decided to make preparation before anything would get closer to us. So she prepared food for us to eat, and then we wait for our dad because he was not at home then. So while waiting for our dad, we saw some of the rioters passing in their car with some weapons like locally made guns and machetes. So they just passed into the town, and we told our mother immediately what we have seen. So it doesn't take much time when we saw the house of our neighbor on fire. Then we decided to run. But by then, my father had not come back, and my elder brother was not at home then. So we ran into the bush for refuge. While in the bush, my mother was in kind of, where is my husband and my first son? She doesn't know what to do. But she said, we just hope God will preserve them. So that's how we ran into the bush, and around evening, we saw our father with some other men passing. So when he saw us, he told us that we should be going, because the men of the village, they are trying to defend for their children and the wives to escape first. So after that, I couldn't see my father again. But the previous day, the next day after we met with our father, some of the rioters came into the bush, the Muslim fanatics. They came into the bush searching for the Christians that have escaped. Then they found us, and they decided to fire us with gun. But their gun was this locally made gun. So the bullet pierced through my mother's cheek, and it also pierced through my back. But I give God the glory because nothing happened to us. We try and escape. At that time, I was with my younger brother and my younger sister also, including our mother. So we ran into, we continued running to look for where he's safe. So we are in the bush for some days. We did not hear any news about my father and about my elder brother. But there was this fateful day that we went to a house, though the house is located in far place from the city, because it's in the bush. So when we got there, they said they hear that my father had been killed. When my mother asked them, they said that my father came back to search for us when the rioters caught up with him and shot him. And it was the same day that our mother was also killed, and my younger brother and my younger sister. Though I was with them, but God took charge. Because when the man came, he started shooting us with a pistol. But to my greatest surprise, I don't know where the bullet was going. But as at that time, my mother had lost strength because she was carrying my last born at her back. So she has no strength to run, and we are still little children then. We just have to just obey what our mother said. So she asked us to lie down, that since that's his mission here, so she just committed our souls to Christ. That anything that happened, let it happen. When the man used, he was having macheted at the side, so he used the machete. He cut my mother on the neck, my younger brother, and my younger sister. He also used the machete on my back, thinking that I was dead. So he decided to leave, because as at that time I was unconscious. So after some time, when I regained consciousness, I just decided to stand up and leave that place. It's only God that saved me. It happened to me at the back. So thinking that that I'm dead, he just left, because he made sure he used the machete twice on each and every one of us. Though he skipped me unaware. So he thought I was already dead then. So he left, and I later came back to life and decided to leave the place. When I went, I decided to go, maybe I can get anybody around that will help me, because I was alone then, and then I was around 8 years old. So I decided to look for somebody that can help me, but I couldn't get anybody. I decided to lie down in the bush at around 12 a.m. in the night. I don't just know the spirit that was in me. I stood up and I saw some men trying to go into the city, as in to find a way out, to run away from the place. So I decided to follow them to escape also. But the people were so unfriendly to the extent that they will send me back. They say, get away from our back before we'll be caught. So I never give up. I continue following them. Because whenever they tell me to go back, I will just withdraw. When they are some distance away from me, I'll follow them because I was afraid anything can happen to me. So when we get into the town and around that place, that's where our house is located. So I just passed through the back of our house, but I discovered that nothing happened to our house. So I went to our neighbor's house and I knocked at his door. So he opened the door. He said, who is that? I told him I was the one, his neighbor's son. So he decided to open the door for me and he accepted me. So he later that same night he took me to a person's house. That person, they left him in the village because they say he is a Muslim. So that they have to leave him and his family. Though his wives are Christians, they are attending our church because my father was the pastor of the church. So that's how I was saved.
On the 22nd of February, to be precise, 2000. My dad and my family, we were all ignorant of what was going on outside then, because then the riot was on, and as usual, my dad was set to go to work, and so all of a sudden we had people shouting outside. My mom was like, no, we should not go out that day because she don't understand why everywhere seems to be somehow looking unusual. Smoke arising from different places, and but my dad insisted that you just have to go. I remember then I was still about 5 years or so. My dad insisted he has to go no matter what. My mom tried to plead with him, but he never listened. The last thing I think he did with us was he asked us to pray. We all went on our knee and he prayed for every one of us and he set off to work. Just before he went out, my mom prepared food and he was unable to eat because he on the account that he lost appetite, he don't feel like eating it. So he took off to work that morning with a very close friend of his whom they worked together. And since then, we've not seen him, we've not heard anything about him until after 2 days when his friend whom they worked together came back home and was telling us what actually happened to my dad, because he himself luckily escaped because they were caught together, but he luckily escaped, and he escaped to tell us the story. And according to him, it was like on their way to where they work, the religious extremists actually stopped them on the way and brought them out of the vehicles, lied them down, and said he watched my father being burnt to ashes and tires put all over him and petrol and other things. The same was to be done to him, but he said he himself, he doesn't even know how he escaped the death. So my dad was burnt to ashes. We could not find any part of his body to bury or anything. After breaking the news, my mom was like, she almost fainted because she never expected something like that to happen. It was so sudden, and it was just as if it happened in a blink of an eye. So everything turned around for us. For we do live at least a bit comfortable life. And my dad being around, working, as in doing a very good job and earning a little bit good salary, was able to care for us. But immediately after he passed away to the glorious end, my mom almost gave up. Almost everybody in my family almost gave up.
The voice of the martyrs made us to realize at any point in time where the church exists, there must always be persecution. People were persecuted during the communist era, but persecution does not end there. It started in Nigeria, and I think it was in Kafanchan, when a young man who was a converted Muslim came up to speak in a higher institution and preach with Quran. And a lady stood up and said, if men cannot fight for their religion, they women are ready to fight. And she stripped herself naked. And then from that day, Nigeria never knew peace again. The calling of Voice of the Christian Martyrs is to visit and helping Christians and their families who are being displaced or being persecuted under this kind of situation they find themselves. So I was in Kaduna in the year 2000. I was doing a relief work for Voice of the Martyrs. It was sponsored by the Voice of the Martyrs. It was there that I came to find women whose husbands had been killed, a lot of them. And the one that disturbed me most was two women that just gave birth to 2 children in the camp. And the name of the children are Mary and Mary, from 2 different families. I couldn't help but wept.
This happened in the year 2000, precisely on the 22nd of February. It was a religious riot, actually, and we were made to believe that a law was being passed that year, a Sharia law, actually. And Christians stood up and wanted to make a peaceful protest, like they didn't want that law. I don't know if you understand what Sharia law meant. So they started this peaceful protest on the 21st of that February. But then things got out of hand on the 22nd. Buildings were being burnt, houses, churches, homes were being scattered. People were running helter-skelter, and like everything was just turned upside down that particular day. My dad left in the morning for church because we usually have this early morning prayers in church. My mom actually told him to stay back. We as the children, we also told him to stay back, though we didn't actually understand the whole incident. But since my mom would say stay back, we were like, my dad should stay back too. But he said, not because of one peaceful protest that is going on or anything that is going on out there, he won't go to church to worship God. So he left that morning. We were all at home waiting for him. We waited till later that evening. Still, there was no sign of him anywhere. Then our house, they started attacking our house. They started throwing tires with fires on them. But to the glory of God, our house was not burnt down. Not until later in the night, my uncle came back I don't know where he went to, but he came back and he was looking so tense, worried. Everyone was asking what was wrong. He called my mother to his side and he explained things to her that my dad was killed that morning that he left, that he witnessed the killing, and he was so lucky to escape also. He was caught, he was made to kneel down, and he was asked to deny Christ. But my dad, being a strong Christian, like he really, really believed in God, he could not just do it. Even after they made him an offer, like deny Christ and you'll be free. We know your house, deny Christ and your family members will be free. Would leave them, would save them, things like that. But still, he said, even though he's being killed, because even Jesus Christ in the Bible said persecution will definitely come to Christians. So we have to just be prepared for it. And he told them he was prepared for that. If they have to kill him, definitely they'll still not get away with what they are doing. Even though they are not going to be judged here on earth, they'll be judged back there in heaven. And that was how he was shot. He was shot dead that particular day. We were just lucky to recover his body because he was supposed to be buried alongside with others as a mass burial. But glory be to God, we got his body and buried him.
One day when we were in school, so their Boko Haram, they enter our school. They asked that I see these foolish people, they are teaching for them. So they now said that everybody they should go home. So we now went home. And I told my daddy that we should go to our village. Then he asked me that we should stay first. So on Sunday when we are going to church. So when we close to the church, we are coming home. So in the night, my father is usher and his so one day, so on Sunday, then my father asked that we should go to the church. When we went to the church, so then the Boko Haram, they now enter, they now kill 80 people in the church. When they kill them, they now say that they remain our father and our apostle. So when our father wants to run, he am our apostle. Then our father, they now catch him, they now cut his leg. That is stupid, that is smart, that which place is he going to? So my father now keep quiet. When my father keep quiet, so they now ask me that should they kill my father, and ask that me. Then they now ask me that she is going to follow them or they should kill him, they should kill him. So they now tell that she choose one again. So they should give him blood, let him drink, or they should kill him. That's that better they should kill him. So my mother was looking. So now said that then the other Boko Haram, now said that I'm stupid. Now ask me that what's my name, and I keep quiet. That time I'm 9 years old. They born my brother, he are 4, in my mother's place. So when they finish, after they now carry my father. That us used to go to church, all those Christians that used to go to church, that us want to go and do a shower or something, that us used to go and do a shower in the church. My mother said that no, that they are not doing a shower. So he asked that if my mother, that if she did not keep quiet, that dirty man, stupid mad, a shower, that if she did not keep quiet, that is going to kill her. My mother now keep quiet. So my mother said that we do 4 days at home. So the Boko Haram, so they now cut my father leg, they now cut his head. So then the nurse, they are going to the church, every church, so they now carry my father to hospital. So our apostle, they take him to hospital.
Around 3 o'clock in the night, they come. The nun said, we are inside our room. Now our mom now wake up. The nun started shooting gun. The nun started, we are now running. The nun started shooting up. Yeah. And the nun started running. And I fell down like I'm dead. Me, I was just running, only me. Then everybody scattered. And then in the morning, the nun told me my mom and my dad and my some brothers are dead.
I look at example of Jesus Christ and the other apostles and his disciples. So, and I look at the case of Stephen. Just have to forgive them.
I forgive them because God said that anybody do evil thing to you, don't.
Well, I'll say I've forgiven them long ago. But when my family were killed, I was very sad, and I said anytime that I get the chance, I will revenge. But I've been taught that we should forgive our neighbors, and every human being, as far as we are following the will of Jesus Christ, you'll be persecuted one way or the other. So I believe with that, there's no need to revenge. I need to leave everything in the hands of God.
We're being taught about forgiveness because left to me, if I was left to be on my own, I would have said, no way, I'm not forgiving anybody that killed my father. But to God be the glory, here I am, happy with everyone, even Muslims or whosoever might have been part of the rioters. I'm so happy with everybody that I'm free to forgive anybody. I am not having any grudges.
As we continue to battle with some 320 here, there are still those over 20s up there. We have succeeded in graduating 44 children so far from our college here. You know, some of them don't have fathers anymore. Some have even lost both parents. They are very intelligent children, but because there's nobody to help, they are back home doing nothing. We try to train them in skill acquisition here, tailoring, computer, and hairdressing things here. But some go home with that. We also give them a piece of sewing machine to go home with which some of them are helping themselves. There are various ways with the church and all our viewers who come out to help children like this. They need our help, and all the best we can do is to do it now, because you know Jesus taught us compassion. He taught us love to our enemies. I know the church will never wake up to take arms against those who are perpetrating violence against us. I have met hundreds of widows. I've met hundreds of pastors that I work with across the north. And they cried. They told us, we don't need your sympathy. We need your help.
Thank you.